welcome to a podcast about something where each week we dive deep into whatever it is we find interesting. I'm your host, Calvin, and we're not actually going to be diving that deep into anything this week. We are both on vacation, myself and Nick, and so instead of your regular scheduled episode, throughout this week, we are putting out all of our Patreon bonus content we're compiling them into single episodes. We'll have a couple random reviews episodes and a couple pilot projections episodes throughout the week. Every day there should be a new episode, so you can go back and listen to some of the things we did on Patreon now that the Patreon is closed. So stay tuned, take a listen. They're just going to run back to back to back, and then there will be another one tomorrow with different episodes that we did. So take a listen. If you like what you hear, there will be more in a day or so. Stay classy. Welcome to a podcast about something's Patreon exclusive. Once a month, we review a random movie released in that month between 1975 and 2015. I said, baby, I don't hate you, but I hate to see you go. All right, as you heard in the intro, this is a new Patreon exclusive series called Random Reviews. Basically, what we did is we took every movie listed on IMDb released between 1975 and 2015. We put them all together. We sorted them by release date and then split them up by the month that they released in theaters. We filtered out anything with an IMDb score lower than 4.0, I want to say.
4.0. Which is pretty low threshold, but still.
Yeah, it's a very low threshold. Yeah, we don't want to get any 1 rated. And then anything over 150 minutes, I think I tried to filter out. We left in some longer ones, like things like Lord of the Rings, I would leave in that, ones I wouldn't mind rewatching, but like Case of Benjamin Button, that shit got out right away.
Definitely. Kind of something you don't want to rewatch. And at the same time, even with cutting stuff out, that file was huge. There was like 7,000 choices or something like that.
Yeah, there's a lot. So we broke it up by month. And so what we're going to do is each month we're going to pick a number at random and go into that month's spreadsheet and find what number that corresponds with.
Which is fun as hell.
Yeah, that's the only way I could think of doing like random movie reviews is you just completely randomize it. And the other thing about cutting ones over 150 minutes, I didn't want to get one of those 4.0 movies that's 190 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
We'd have been choosing that one and then gone, all right, no, we can't do that.
I'll give you $5 not to pick that.
Yeah. We'd have been finding all kinds of ways out of that.
Definitely.
So for March, our first movie was the great Hellraiser 4 Bloodline.
Hellraiser
1996.
4. What a great year.
And at the end of this episode, we'll be picking April's movie at random. So you'll get a new one next month. And it's we don't really have a schedule for it. Just whenever we both watch it and feel like recording the episode, we'll record it, and that's when it'll go up. But it'll be sometime within the month that movie released.
Yeah, so stick around, guys. It'll be fun.
Hellraiser Bloodline.
Dude.
This was so I haven't seen any of the Hellraiser movies. I knew Pinhead existed, but
yes,
no idea. And like I knew there was like something about a puzzle box. Other than that,
I had no idea.
Yeah, nothing.
I mean, this plot was so confusing.
Well, I kind of liked this being the entry point because it was super confusing, but they also tried to explain everything. I don't think they did a good job of explaining it, but they tried to explain everything.
They did their damnedest to explain everything, so you would at least minimally understand it. But I mean, I will say I had a couple favorite parts of that movie. But it opened with good music. That was pretty good.
Should we give a synopsis?
Let's give a synopsis.
So basically we start out in 21, 27, sometime 100 or so years in the future. Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't remember what year it was, but it was in the 2100s. And there's some guy on a space...
2127.
2127, that's what it was? Yeah. Nice.
He's on a space station of some sort.
On a space station of some sort. And then we flash back to the 1700s, because I think they say they're in the 18th century.
Yes, but don't forget, he is a skinhead monk with a Terminator-like robot.
Yeah, he's got the robot that's trying to open the puzzle box.
Keep that in context. And then, yes, you go way back in time.
Go way back. And this is when the puzzle box, the pinhead puzzle box was invented, apparently, was in the 1700s by the toy maker.
Said toy maker.
And then for some reason, Adam Scott is there with a weird ponytail.
That was
trying
my favorite
to stop
part.
him. I love Adam Scott, man. I love Ben Wyatt. I love his character in Party Down. Are we having fun yet? Like, I love Adam Scott.
Step Brothers.
He's great in Step Brothers. He was in Boy Meets World. Love Adam Scott. Really weird to see him in this movie.
Super weird because everyone has that like English accent, and he's just like, I'm Adam Scott.
Really fits with his career arc in 1996, though, I think.
Definitely.
He plays Jacques, a Frenchman.
Jacques, who speaks perfect English.
Yeah, who helps release the demon, the lady demon, Angelique.
Who's a hottie.
And then they kill the original toy maker and live, and then we revisit them in 1996.
Yes.
Does that sound right?
That sounds about right. And what transpires is very interesting.
Yeah, take it from there.
Basically, the original toy maker's descendants over the years.
His bloodline, if you will.
Yes, his bloodline, if you will. Shout out to whoever came up with that title.
They use the word bloodline a lot. Have you ever watched CinemaSins videos?
Mm-mm.
CinemaSins is fantastic. They do a series of videos called Everything Wrong With ... like whatever movie they're doing. And they just nitpick movies.
I would have so much fun with that.
It's fantastic. It's hilarious. But one of their sins because they do like cliches and things like that. So one of their sins that they always do is if somebody says the name of the movie in the movie, it's a roll credits scene. You just roll credits, ding. And so like they said Bloodline like 15 times. So he would have had a field day with this one.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, so his bloodline is an architect.
Yep.
So, yeah, as a bloodline member of the bloodline, he's an architect. He's basically trying to build like a
These are all played by the same actor, too.
Yes, who's not good.
Not good.
Not
Wish
good
it would have been Adam Scott.
Exactly. That would have been way better. And I mean, he's this actor, like, someone slaps him in the face, pauses, and then he's like, oh, no. Like, he
goes hard in the sex scene, though, with Angelique.
Who wouldn't, buddy?
I mean... She was looking good.
I was hoping we
would get that scene, and it came. I mean, she's a demon, but that's okay. She had a nice rack.
Exactly. So basically, the demons are trying to open the gate to hell, so Pinhead can come through, and I think start the apocalypse.
Yeah, they want it open permanent. So the puzzle box could only be open like for a brief time. They want to open it forever.
Yes.
And he's got like a hell dog with him.
That hellhound was really cool, actually.
Yeah.
For that, it had such a great 90s feel in that sense. And that hellhound really contributed to that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so he's an architect, and he basically builds a building that it would be a permanent puzzle box.
Yeah, it like refracts light or some crazy
using
shit.
Mirrors and lights, yeah.
They fall into the old trap of trying to science it up too much.
Yeah.
And that didn't benefit from that.
Like, they could have just shown him building the building and then it, like, doing the puzzle box type stuff. Like, they don't have to explain mirrors and shit.
Yeah, it was a long-ass movie, too. It was like an hour and a half.
In the grand scheme of things, it wasn't a very long movie, but it felt really long.
Super long,
because it was not a good movie.
No, it wasn't. It had its moments.
This is not one that we would have picked if it was over 150 minutes long. That's for damn sure.
Hell no.
He eventually dies, but he had a son already, so the bloodline continued. And as he's dying, they trap Pinhead back in the puzzle box, right?
Basically.
And then we go back to the space station in 2127 to basically have 20 minutes of an alien movie.
Yeah, dude, I didn't understand that. Well, going into it,
I thought it was going to be an alien movie. I was like, all right, all these people are coming in. The space force is coming in, and Pinhead has been released. Like, he got the puzzle box open before Space Force came in, so Hellraiser's just going to be going crazy and
it's going to be like Doom.
Yeah, he's going to be picking off these people on the space station. But it happened, but I thought that was going to be the whole movie. And then they went back to the 1700s and then the 90s. And this was just all over the place.
It was trippy as all hell. That's for sure. And I mean, it honestly didn't bring the gore like I thought it would. There were some scenes that were just like, ugh.
Yeah, not really.
But it wasn't crazy violent like Freddy Krueger and Jason and Halloween and all that stuff. Like, it just
so the worst thing that they turned it kind of like this was almost a predecessor to the Saw torture porn. Like, it wasn't straight up stabbings and things like that, but they took. I was working while I was watching, so I wasn't paying 100% attention. Sorry, fans. But like, they took these two security guards in the 90s and molded their heads together around some cylinder of some sort.
Yeah.
So like, and then they like peeled the skin off of them. So like, it was more that. It was more like CGI shock effects of like, how can we fuck these people up with CGI?
Yeah, and I mean, like, he used hooks with chains, and they straight up ripped this dude's face off.
Yeah.
And it's just like, holy shit. And there's a couple moments like that where you're just like, oh my god, like, I'm gonna go back to Adam Scott whenever he's playing Jacques in the future.
Yeah.
And I love when the demon lady, he's talking shit to the demon lady, and then she basically comes out of nowhere with these it claws. He says, scratches his face, and then straight up rips his heart out of his chest. And that's the end of Adam Scott.
Yeah, it was rough for Jacques there for a few minutes.
Well, I mean, I'm sitting there just my mouth open like, oh my god.
Well, I thought Adam Scott was going to be in the whole movie. I'm saying Adam Scott.
I'm saying.
Of course, it's 1996. The only thing he had done really before that was Griff Hawkins and Boy Meets World. So maybe not.
He had to go. But yeah. I loved like she's barely scratching him. And he's stop! Yeah. Oh my god!
He was overacting a bit.
It's so hard, man. And then it reminded me of Dumb and Dumber, just when he rips the dude's heart out of his chest.
My favorite scene of Dumb and Dumber. If you guys have listened to our Jim Carrey movie superlatives, you'll know what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
But yeah, this movie just went in so many crazy directions that I didn't expect. But kind of in the best way.
Yes, and which was cool. I mean, it
super over the top.
Things up.
Yeah, you didn't have to be fully engaged. And like I said, I was working while it was on. I still feel like I understood the whole movie.
Yes.
And like I caught all the stuff I was supposed to catch, but like it was entertaining for what it was, I would say.
Definitely, I would never watch it again willingly. But I'm glad I did watch it, because I mean, I like the opening music. There was times it had that shock factor, not gore-wise, but it's just like, what the hell? Space cop adventure, annihilation, apocalypse, what the hell? But it did also have some really good lines. One in particular, when Pinhead's talking about what he is, and he's basically like, I'm the personification of pain. Suffering is the coin of the realm. And it's like, damn, that dude sounds so nasty right there. But that was the most like intimidating thing ever. I would just smack all those needles out of his face. It's like, you like that, bitch? Da da da.
Yeah, and so we forgot the best part.
Hit me.
The space station is actually a giant puzzle box in space that locks Pinhead in forevermore. Except I think they made a 5th Pinhead movie.
Wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, when they hit that, when it all starts folding up, it's like, so that's what that big thing did.
So I kind of saw that coming. That was a little bit telegraphed when they were in the building that 1996 Merchant built.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was like, oh, this space station he's on. Like, when he's talking about mirrors and when they extra science it up, I was like, oh, that space station, like, they're definitely using mirrors in the sun to reflect and make the puzzle box there. But then I was like, well, but he was trying to open the puzzle box and release Pinhead, so why did he open the puzzle box if he wants to lock Pinhead in? So it kind of threw me off a little bit, too, because, like, the dude on the space station is trying to get Pinhead out for some reason.
I think ultimately he's
just
trying
to trap him again.
Exactly. Like, I think because the toy box, the original one, can basically summon him and anybody can use it by accident, I think his plan was basically to trap him and then destroy the box.
So well, right, because they set the self-destruct as he's leaving in the escape pod. Yeah, and used a hologram. They make it.
Yeah. Yeah. The bootiest 1996 hologram I've ever seen. But, I mean, overall, his scheme, I suppose, works. But
why couldn't he just leave the original puzzle box on the space, like, without opening it, on the space station, and then have the space station also puzzle box and blow up?
That'd be too easy.
I guess.
Too easy.
It's a movie.
Yeah, I mean, it is Hellraiser 4. They had to really bring it this time.
That's true. Hellraiser in space, like, you gotta have some space Hellraiser going on.
You
gotta raise hell in space.
Dang. Hell doesn't, it's not contained to the earth.
For this movie.
But I'm curious because I wonder if it came out the same year as Jason X, where he's in space.
No, Jason X was way later, I want to say.
I gotta find out.
I'm trying to look for the tagline of this movie, because if it's not "We raise hell in space," then what the hell are you doing with your life?
I am eager to hear that.
Taglines: This year, the past, the present, and the future will all meet at the crossroads of hell. Nah, mine's better.
In space.
Let's raise some hell in space.
And they have great guns there too.
Yeah, not a lot went into the CGI work of the props, I guess, of the Space Force weapons.
No, and I mean their budget had to have been like $12 because they used the same actor through generations, like no aging, no nothing, like it's bloodlines.
No,
bro.
we'll just make him 30 and everything and look exactly the same. Yeah,
exactly.
That's fine.
Perfect descendant.
Obviously, everyone looks the same as their grandfather and his grandfather and so forth. So exactly. This was the budget for this was $4 million and it made $16 million. $16 million. I mean, yeah.
That's pretty solid.
That's crazy.
No wonder they made a fifth one.
I guess so. People really like Pinhead, I guess. I've never seen it before.
That was a $4 million movie for sure. When you think about it.
Yeah.
God, man.
All of it spent on the space toy box.
Who listened to that and was just like, yeah, I'll give you $4 million.
So you know Hellraiser and how he has this puzzle box? What if we did that, but in space?
Brain explosions.
I think in the late 90s, like that, people were signing up for anything if you just told a story and they were like, but in space.
Yep. Or, at the center of the earth in space.
Whoa. I think you just wrote a whole new movie there.
You got me, you feeling me, bro?
Jason
or they're
X
watching
2001.
People. Bring it. Yeah, I actually saw that, which is, I can't believe they had the balls to make that movie in 2001.
Yeah, I feel like by 2001 but let's do it in space thing was over.
Yeah, maybe that's why it was so bad. It got higher rated than this, so I think this was like a solid 4.
This was 5.1 on IMDb, or it is right
now. What?
I think on our original list it was 5.5. So like the ratings always change. Let me look for it.
People get on there and like, this shit is garbage. I hate it. I don't know.
5.1. Yeah, 5.1. Right. Released March 8th, 1996. Director Kevin Yeager.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's worth a watch, though. I will say, if you've never seen it, it's one of those where you sit down with your wife with some popcorn, drink a couple beers, and you watch the,
Definitely if you're a fan of dumb horror.
Space opera.
Space opera, yeah. Dumb horror in space, like, this is the movie for you. I would give it, like, let's go ahead and give our ratings. I'd give it like a 5.8 in my ratings.
I'd give it just a solid 5. Just because of the, it did give me some moments where I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Well, but dude, then they take a third person and meld them with the already 2 security guards who are molded together over the cylinder between their faces thing.
Exactly. That's one of those moments where it's like, what?
And she's like, we have to complete the circle or some shit like that.
They don't even know what the hell they're doing. The actors are like, really? I gotta say this shit? Come on, man. I guess if you're paying me $500,000, then I'll do it. But
good job, Adam Scott.
He was so worth it. As soon as I saw it, I was like, honey, Adam Scott
is in
this movie. She didn't believe it, and then I ended up showing her, and she was just like, oh, Adam Scott. Oh, crazy.
I love Adam Scott.
He's great.
Not so much in this. Sorry, Adam. I think he did well with what he had to work with. It's a rough one.
They did their best, so I'm sticking with my 5. They earned that 5.
Yeah, they earned every ounce of that 5 and 5.8.
That's right.
All right, so that brings us to the time to pick next month's movie.
Let's do it.
We're in April. We're going to be in April. There are 608 movies in April that meet our criteria. So we're in Google. We will put in 1 to 608 and generate number 392.
392.
See what it is. Scrolling. This is fantastic radio. Barney's Version.
What?
It is a comedy drama from 2010. 7.3 on IMDb, so it might actually be good.
It's called Barney's what?
Barney's Version.
Ah, Barney's Version.
Yep. Directed by Richard Lewis. Not sure who that is.
That's my cousin.
7.3 on IMDb. It can't be too bad.
I think that might be more enjoyable than Hellraiser, so I'm super excited.
I gotta add it to my Netflix, and we are off with Barney's version. If anybody's seen Barney's version, give us a quick shout out on Twitter and let us know a little bit what to expect. We don't want to know too much.
Definitely not. I mean,
it's 134 minutes, so it's it's a little bit longer, but it's definitely longer than Hellraiser.
I'll break that up. I'll have to break that one up. But yeah, either way, if you've seen it, let us know, because I've never heard of
Rosamund Pike. This might actually be good. Minnie
that
Driver,
sounds pretty good.
Scott Speedman, Dustin Hoffman.
Oh shit! All right, game.
Yeah, all right.
What's good? I hope you guys
want me to read
it.
the synopsis?
I mean, go for it, dude.
All right. Paul Giamatti stars as Barney Panofsky, a Jewish-Canadian television producer who reflects in flashbacks on 3 strange decades and 3 wives in this adaptation of Mordecai Richler's acclaimed novel.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Netflix queue. All right, I'm excited for that one. I love Paul Giamatti. Man. Dustin Hoffman's good stuff. Rosamund Pike's fine. Minnie Driver's fine.
Rosamund Pike's fine.
No, not fine like sexy, like fine.
No, I'm
like,
saying fine like
Mark Addy, I like him.
He's pretty sweet.
King Robert himself.
Yeah. He's in a lot of stuff.
It gives the You May Also Likes are Gone Girl, Hostiles, pretty much anything with Rosamund Pike is on there. I Think We're Alone Now, never seen that. Sideways is a You Might Also Like, which I've heard that's good. Yeah. All right. That could be good. I'm up for that.
Hell yeah.
All right. It's on my Netflix queue. Thank you guys for listening to this Patreon exclusive. Come back for more. We'll be doing this. We'll be doing random reviews every month, and then we've got other stuff coming too. Game of Thrones recap show, War Get To Me, coming in April. That's going to be weekly. We'll have more pilot projections, which we already did Umbrella Academy. We'll probably do some more stuff coming up here soon once we figure out more shows that we want to watch.
Definitely.
So, thanks for being a patron, and thank you for listening.
We appreciate it greatly. Tell your friends.
Thanks for stopping by. The Bible says man without vision shall surely die. Welcome to a podcast about some things Patreon exclusive. Once a month we review a random movie released in that month between 1975 and 2015. I said, baby, I don't hate you, but I hate to see you go. Okay, so we're got another random review for you. We're really super excited about it. Our April movie was Barney's Version, starring Paul Giamatti, from 2010. Did
you say 2010?
Yeah.
That was such a 2010 movie.
Felt 2010, didn't it?
So 2010.
And yep, that's all we've got to say about the movie. Thanks for listening.
Join us next time.
Yeah, join us next time. No, the movie was fine. The only reason I would say that you need to go out of your way to watch this movie is like you're a huge Paul Giamatti fan and just need to see everything with him in it. But I feel like if you're that level of Paul Giamatti fan, you've already seen it.
Most likely. For me, it's something I'd put on in the background. Like, it wasn't a bad movie.
No.
Don't get me wrong.
It was well made.
It was well made. It was well directed. Good acting. It wasn't very interesting.
No.
That's kind of what got me. Like, Paul Giamatti plays a character, Barney, and it kind of goes through his life, but he initially comes off as some rich asshole.
Yeah, definitely asshole.
Yeah, who comes across as a straight scumbag. But the way the movie was constructed threw me off more times than I cared to admit.
Well, they kept making these time jumps because it happened. We are going to be spoiling the movie if anyone cares. This fantastic film. It kept making these time jumps because it was like 3 different times of his life between his first marriage, his second marriage, and then present day, if you will, where he has his grown kids are helping him out now. And my one-line review for it is it's well made but completely unnecessary. Like, there is no point to this movie.
That same thought crossed my mind. Like, who's in a director's room? Like,
we got to make this. Yeah,
we got to make it.
Who's the studio that's signing off on it? It's a Canadian movie, I've got to say, because it happens in Canada and it's very Canada centric. But I don't get like how this is greenlit and paid for.
Exactly. I mean, who the fuck is Barney? I don't care.
No, I did not give a shit about Barney at all. I didn't give a shit about either of his wives.
It's 3 wives. He had 3 wives.
Oh yeah, that first one didn't really count.
Yeah, so his first wife, I don't know. I think they were trying to portray this guy who was kind of beat down by life, but he still did what he wanted to do.
But yeah, it didn't do a good job because he was still an asshole about being beat down by life.
Exactly.
Like, it didn't make him better.
And, I mean, don't get me wrong, he had some shit happen to him. Like, his first wife killed herself.
Like the day after they had a baby, which was not his baby. So his first wife, he proposes to because she's pregnant. She tells him it's his. Not his. It's the token black dude of there. Like, that was the most token black dude I've ever seen in my life.
So bad. Where he's like throwing up the black power hand all the time.
He's got like 6 lines throughout the whole movie. All of them have the black power hand as he's saying it, and they're all just like one line, like, my man. That's it.
Yeah.
It's
my
like,
man,
right
brother,
on, my
brother,
man. That's all
brother.
he says. It's the most token black guy performance I've ever seen.
With an afro. Don't forget that.
And so it turns out to be his baby. Paul Giamatti punches him and never sees him again. Then she kills herself the next day. Because
what happened to that baby?
The baby died.
Oh, it was stillborn.
Stillborn, yeah.
That was too bad. So there's a lot of sad shit that happened.
In this movie. Absolutely. He's a tragic character, but they don't make you feel for him at all.
Yeah, so then, I do not care.
So then he gets, like, through the Jewish community, he gets basically arranged marriage, but not quite arranged marriage. Like, it's like, I know this girl, like, their parents are friends with this guy, like, but it was pretty much forced.
They're rich and she's cute. So,
and Minnie Driver might be one of the most annoying people in the world. I don't like her.
I thought she was good in, like, Good Will Hunting.
Yeah, she's annoying.
Her accent was terrible. She's
really British though.
Yeah, exactly.
That's her real accent.
She had that weird, like, Canadian. She was trying to sound Canadian. It just did not work out. Didn't work out, eh?
Dustin Hoffman plays Giamatti's father and just rocking the sweetest mustache ever.
So hard. And it was like a callback to Meet the Fockers.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's just like, so that's where he got his swag from.
Yeah. But he was probably the brightest point of the movie, and then they kill him off pretty early. So, but at his wedding to Minnie Driver, he meets the woman he's actually in love with and just decides to spend the next 45 minutes of the movie stalking her.
Like, hardcore stalking her, like sending her flowers every day. And I mean, he literally leaves his wedding and gets on a train, and he's just like, hey, boo, I'm not going anywhere. He was the original incel.
Yes,
there you go.
That's exactly what it is. And so How I Met Your Mother has a good theory on this effect. They call it the Dobler-Dahmer effect, which is based on Jeffrey Dahmer, known serial killer, and John Cusack's character from Say Anything, Lou Dobler. I've never seen Say Anything. I'm just going off what I learned in How I Met Your Mother. So basically, the crazy things that people do in love are not crazy if both parties are into each other. You turn into Lou Dobler. You're not a stalker. You're not crazy. But if one side is not into the other side and you're doing all the exact same things, you turn into Jeffrey Dahmer, a crazy serial killer. So that's the notion of this theory.
Minus the killing. Yeah, I mean,
maybe
makes
minus
sense.
the killing. Yeah, so this movie really portrays that, because I saw him as a Dahmer the whole time he's pursuing her and, like, just being a crazy person while he's married.
Straight up creep. Like, this dude, what a piece of shit. It's kind of what I was thinking. Like, he is not cool.
There were moments where they tried to make you feel sympathetic for him, but then most of the movie is just like, no, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, and here, watch this 2-hour plus movie. Oh my god.
Yeah.
When I saw the
total piece of
runtime on
shit
it,
where we'll give you like maybe 6 minutes of him being actually sympathetic and good. And then so he takes Minnie Driver on a honeymoon in Italy where his first wife killed herself. Like, they go right back to where she died. Weird choice for a honeymoon.
Yeah, he's fucked up, man. He's weird.
And then his druggy friend ends up having an affair with his second wife. So that's 2 wives, 2 friends boned him. Like, he needs to get some better friends. No wonder.
Seriously.
I guess when you're that much of a piece of shit, you only attract other pieces of shit as friends.
True that. But the way they kind of had I couldn't stand that. He's like, well, you owe me, bro. Like, I took care of you and all this stuff. So, and then his friend's just like, yeah, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
I fucked her.
His statement was, let's make it 3 for 3. I'm going to go after the woman you're stalking now.
Yeah, that was creepy.
And then his friend dies in mysterious circumstances at his lake house.
They strongly imply that he shoots him.
Yeah, there's a cop after him who wrote a book about him that thinks he murdered his friend and like dropped him in the lake basically, because he's in this drunken stupor and he passes out while shooting a gun and his friend falls into the lake at the same time. So yeah, it's very strongly implied that he shoots him, but the movie's called Barney's Version. So at the end, when we get to present day, he eventually marries the girl he stalks.
Yes, and they have kids and
have a mostly happy life until he's a piece of shit again, and she runs off with this. Did she run off? Oh no, he cheated on her. That's right.
He banks some like nasty little bar rat.
Yeah,
and he was just a fool. His wife was super cool.
Yep,
and it was not like she's
trying to pursue a career in radio, and like she goes off to this thing in New York with this other guy, like one of their neighbors. And like he gets insanely jealous and cheats on her for no reason, and then that's it. That's the end of their marriage, obviously.
Yeah, she leaves him, and she had every fucking right to.
Oh yeah, and so
she was the most sympathetic.
She does end up marrying that guy though, the neighbor that she goes to New York with. So there may have been something, but she's not the piece of shit we're focusing on. He is. So, so we get to the end. It seems he has Alzheimer's or dementia, something like that.
Yeah. They imply kind of throughout, like little sprinkles, that he is losing his memory, and just kind of deteriorating.
The way I felt is that they were trying to pull this twist of he's an unreliable narrator because he has Alzheimer's. We're now looking at Barney's version of the events of his life. So at this moment, before the final twist of what happened, is his version was he passed out while his friend fell in, but actually really he killed him. His version of his wife dying was she killed herself, but actually he probably killed her too. His version of how his relationship ended with his second wife was that she cheated on him with his friend, when really something else has. So like I thought it was the theme of the story at that point was be a piece of shit but have Alzheimer's so you can remember it however you wanted. You're not the piece of shit in your own story because you don't remember it correctly, which looked like what they were trying to set up. But then they kind of go back on that too. Yeah.
They played on that too much. I did not like that, and the constant peppering of, I don't know, is he a piece of shit? Is he not? Like, did he come
he was
through?
A piece of shit. 100%.
Yeah, it was like, okay, for me it was like they opened up the faucet so a couple drips came out. But every time, his real personality shone through, it was full blown. Both sides of the faucet are just running out. So he's a piece of shit the majority of that movie.
I mean, like what do they want us
99%.
What do they want us to feel that it's okay to be a piece of shit until you're old enough to not remember that you're a piece of shit, so you just remember yourself as a good person? Like that's what this movie felt like.
So you can come to grips with the fact, like, you lived a shitty life, but you can die in peace. Like, dude, you were crappy to three women. You were crappy to your family. You were crappy to your kids. Like, you kind of deserve to lose your mind and die. Like, fuck you, man.
Yeah. And so then it turns out there's a final twist of he didn't kill his friend, or again, this is him as a person with Alzheimer's. He doesn't think he killed his friend. There was a fire on the same day his friend disappeared, and he thinks he got like scooped up in the helicopter airdrop of water. Like the friend jumped into the lake of his own volition because he had snorkeling gear on and stuff. Really weird, but he jumped into the lake under his own volition and then got scooped up by the helicopter that was dumping water on the fire on the other side of the lake. So now this is what Barney's believing actually happened, and he got dropped because they said when they found the body, the injuries resembled fall from skydiving or something like that.
Yeah, blunt force trauma. Yeah,
so he thinks he got dropped from the helicopter, basically.
Which, I mean, it makes sense when you think about it, but it's almost like they're erasing this shitty guy's little bit of guilt that he has, so he can die even more peacefully.
Right, because before that, he didn't actually know what happened. There was part of him that thought he may have shot his friend and killed him.
I think he was pretty convinced that he shot and killed his friend.
Yeah.
Because he never showed
So
back
he has
up.
this guilt and remorse that doesn't get paid off, because now all of a sudden, okay, it didn't happen that way. I want to remember it this way, so that's what happened.
Well, like, with each person that he wrongs, he has points where, like, after he cheats on his wife, I'm going to cook for you and clean all your clothes and do all this stuff for you. And, his buddy, after he thinks he killed his buddy, he comes clean, but he tells the cops pretty much the truth. And it's his like one shining moment, but then as soon as he's not caught red-handed in his bullshit, he just reverts back to it. Or if he is caught in his bullshit, he reverts back to it.
Right. Well, and so there's one last thing I want to ask you. This goes back to the second wife. She looks at the bank statement, sees that he's sending flowers every day to the woman he's stalking, his eventual third wife. So that brings up the question, and you don't have to go too much into detail. Do you and your wife look through each other's like bank statements, or now it's online, so like your bank accounts? Do you share one account or do you have several? And no, do you look and do you care at what's on them?
Nope. We have separate bank accounts, but we know what our bills are every month, so it's just kind of like, okay, I'll put this much, you put this much, we'll call it a day. If I'm short, I got you, which, we're not short, but
right,
we have each other's backs, and I've never once asked to like look at my wife's phone or look at her mail. Like,
yeah, that's crazy stalker people things.
Well, if something's serious enough, like, I don't know, I love my wife, she loves me, I trust her. I would never go through her shit unless I saw her like lose 50 pounds in one day and have a bunch of track marks. Then yeah, I'd probably
there'd be some issues there. Yeah,
but my wife's pretty chill.
It's the same. We have 3 accounts. I have an account. We have like 6 accounts, but that doesn't matter. We have 3 main ones. I have an account. My wife has an account, and we have like one bills account. So basically, I do all the finances. So I'll just take everything. I'll take care of the bills account first. Wherever the bills need to be paid for the next 2 weeks, all that money goes in there, and then it's an allowance, but it's not really an allowance. Like if you go over it, so I just give her money for the week. I give me my money for the week. It's the same amount, and then we just go and we spend it. And it's more just like, so we're both not spending crazy, because with online banking, if you don't look at it, you're gonna overdraft every time. So like it's
very easy to do.
Yeah. So I keep an eye on both of them, and like if her account's getting low, I tell her, but like and I'll look at her statement, but I don't care what she's spending her money on. Like
that's practical. You got to avoid them overdraft fees, my dude.
Right. If it's like $80 at Kohl's, I'll be like, okay, why'd you spend $80 at Kohl's? And she tells me, and I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. It's more to make sure, like, did you actually spend this money that it says you spent? Because like she didn't go to Kohl's. She was like, oh no, I bought all this stuff online. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So like it's more just like double checking, because she doesn't ever look at her account, so I have to look at it to make sure she doesn't overdraft, basically.
Hey, fair enough. We all have those kind of, that's what a marriage is all about. We got each other's backs.
Right. And then so who is right in the argument on the bank statement? They're both angry. He's mad because she looked at his bank statements, and she's mad because he's buying flowers for another woman. Who's more right in that situation?
Honestly, I think both their arguments are moot if she's looking at his bank statements and he's basically emotionally cheating on her. Like, I don't think either of them really have a fucking say. But I think if we're, looking at it in the context of the movie, she's way more reason to be pissed. Because at this point, she really hasn't, she's been trying to be his wife. And he's just like, fuck you, whatever. I would be super pissed if I found out my wife was sitting,
She's not the best wife either. Like
she's a rich, spoiled snob.
Right. She knows what that marriage is. Like she knows he married her because her family's rich, and like she takes advantage of it. Like she doesn't give a shit about him in the same way he doesn't really care about her. Okay. That's all I had to cover. I can't believe we talked that much on that movie.
No kidding. But overall, there's not bad.
But that's the thing. There's a lot of interesting things in the movie. They just don't make you feel any of them because he's such a piece of shit.
Yeah, like I can't believe this movie got a 7.3.
Oh no. In my mind, I gave it a 6.2. Like, and it only goes that high because it's well made.
Yes, exactly.
I would never watch it again though.
No.
I would not recommend it to anyone unless you're just like huge Paul Giamatti fan and this flew under your radar.
Yeah, like if I'm at the hospital and this is the only thing on TV, I might watch it, or I'll pick up the 12-month-old Life magazine. Yeah, I haven't decided yet.
I agree. All right, so you got to give it a rating. Hold on, before we go on.
5.9.
Ooh,
not quite a 6. If it would have made a little more sense, maybe.
All right, so now we get to the point where we pick the movie for May. On the list of May movies, there are 750 options.
Nice.
And these are movies released between 1972 and 2015, sometime in the month of May, rated over 4 in IMDb. So we'll put in the random number generator, 1 to 750, and we'll hit generate. 410.
Nice.
Let's see what that is. A Force of One.
What the fuck?
1979 action crime drama. Directed by Paul Aaron. It's got a 5.1 on IMDb.
What is it called?
It's only 90 minutes long, though. A Force of One.
A Force of One.
Yep. Let's see who's in it.
Probably no one we know of.
1979? No, I don't watch like Alien's the only movie from 1979 that I'll watch.
Yep.
See if it even comes up on Netflix. It does not even come up on Netflix DVDs. Shit.
Damn.
We might have to pick something else. Hold on. Let's see if I can find it on Amazon Prime. Because if we can't get it anywhere, then we're not going to be able to watch it. Movies. Like, I don't care if I have to pay the $3 for it.
Yeah, I had to rent Barney's version.
There we go. Prime Video. Okay, it is there. Oh, it's actually on Prime Video. Like, I don't even have to pay for it. It'll just let me watch it. Nice.
You fuck.
When the detectives of an undercover police unit are being mysteriously killed by a martial artist, a professional kickboxer is hired to assist them. Wait. That kickboxer? Mr. One Chuck Norris.
Oh, yes, dude. I'm excited about this now.
I've never seen a Chuck Norris movie other than Dodgeball.
Super excited about this now.
Oh, that'll be good.
Fuck yeah. All right, cool.
All right.
Let's do it.
Only 90 minutes long, much more palatable than Barney's version. Did not get a good rating, though, on IMDb.
They can be wrong.
We'll find out. They were wrong about Barney's version, that's for sure.
Motherfuckers.
Thank you for being a Patreon subscriber. Thank you for listening to this review of Barney's version. Don't check it out. Come back next month for another random review of A Force of One. Also, don't forget to check out War Get To Me, our Season 8 Game of Thrones recap, and the pilot projections, which we talk about TV shows.
Yep, most recent one was A Haunting of Hill House.
God, that was scary.
Yeah.
Check out that episode for more of my thoughts on that.
Yes. Check it out, fellas.
Thanks for stopping by.
The Bible says man without vision shall surely die.
Welcome to a podcast about something's Patreon exclusive. Once a month, we review a random movie released in that month between 1975 and 2015. A Force of One is what we're reviewing this week. Chuck Norris film from 1979.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I've got
for
to
our
say
random
about
reviews.
Yeah, random review.
The new installment.
Very, 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 very random here. This was actually the first Chuck Norris movie I've ever seen, I think. Other than Dodgeball.
He's in Dodgeball?
Yeah, he's one of the judges that gives the thumbs up. Thank you, Chuck Norris. And then at the end, you get the fucking Chuck Norris.
Did you ever watch Walker, Texas Ranger?
No.
That's the only place I knew him from. I had a buddy that was like obsessed with Walker, Texas Ranger.
No, I have like zero experience with Chuck Norris other than like the meme of Chuck Norris can do anything because he's a badass and his one scene in Dodgeball, that's it.
Yeah, he's kind of a little more obscure character these days. He's getting old as shit, man.
Yeah, definitely getting old. But we're here to talk about A Force of One, which is basically... Let's try to see if we can sum this up. There's a drug epidemic in this small California town. And as police are investigating the different drug crimes, I guess, they're being killed, but not with any weapons. They can't find the source of the killings because it was someone with their bare hands using karate.
Karate. They jump to karate so quickly.
Yeah.
You're like, oh yes,
those karate
you know what, Johnson,
weirdos.
this looks like karate. I've seen, I saw this back in '74. Fucked up what these boys do, but boys will be boys.
So the only way to combat the karate killer is by the whole police force learning karate. So in comes Chuck Norris to try and teach them. But then it becomes personal for Chuck Norris because the karate killer takes out his adopted son, whose mother died of drugs. It all comes full circle.
Very convoluted.
There will be spoilers for A Force of One if you planned on watching it. But that's.
I'm gonna open with this though.
Go for it.
If you're listening to this, I loved it. It was great, man. It was one of those. It was just kind of you throw it on TV to get a cheap laugh.
Yeah,
and I love those old kung fu movies.
Yeah, it's definitely laughable in a way that it's not meant to be because they play it completely straight. Like this is a karate movie, and they want you to love the karate in it. And they have like this 3.5 minute kickboxing fight scene, like in a like at his actual competition in a ring and everything. It was like a boxing match, but it was kickboxing or karate, I guess, put together with 45-year-old Chuck Norris and some other 40-year-old dude. And it was just the longest kickboxing scene I've ever seen in my life. But
it was so bad. And that other guy, it was like, where did you learn to fight, dude? Are you shit-faced right now? Like, what is going on?
So I watched this just kind of to the side while I was doing work, which is a great way to watch it. You were watching it after a couple beers, which is another great way to watch it. Do not ever make this your main focus. Don't do a date night for it. That's not a good plan. Like, you got to have something else going on. Preferably
definitely.
Beers and friends and where you can laugh at it and make fun of it because that's worth it.
Absolutely. And I mean, I have a newborn daughter, and I don't stay up very late anymore. I mean, I never really did in the first place. So when she's asleep, be able to sneak a couple beers in a dopey movie, it's one of the best ways I've found to unwind.
You definitely found a dopey movie here.
It's dopey as shit, but
we got some fantastic campy 70s haircuts. Just all around. Every person has a great haircut.
Seriously, everyone is extremely well manicured. Whoever the barber is in this town, congrats to you, sir. But I will say the choreography wasn't half bad.
No, they did a good job, and they made it seem like karate is super important in this world.
In California,
everybody needs to know karate.
Fucking karate, bro. You gotta know it, dude.
So, we talked about the guys going around using karate to kill cops who are investigating the drug kingpin or any drug-related crimes. Basically, they're sending out their karate assassin after these cops. So the cops decide that they need to learn karate to fight karate. That's the only way to fight karate. Like, guns don't work against karate. The karate killer is just bulletproof, obviously.
He's such a ninja. But I mean,
and that first one where they're like in the store after hours. Like, dude comes out of nowhere and fucks him up. I'll give him that.
Seriously. In booty shorts, bro. He was a white dude wearing booty shorts with some pants underneath.
I mean, it's the 70s. What do you expect?
Not that, my man. I mean, I would have been less surprised to see him with the actual just booty shorts on and come whoop some ass bare-legged. But he did kind of come from the shadows. And when they decide to learn karate, their captain or whatever he is, who his mouth barely moves when he talks.
Well, I loved that scene with all of them in the room together. Like after the first two cops are killed, they're all in this room together, and one of the cops says, maybe he's one of those karate weirdos like you see on TV, and I'm like, what the fuck are you watching on TV?
Where do you jump? That's what I mean, man. They jump to karate so quick. They're like, oh, it's fucking karate, bro.
Couldn't be poisoned or anything else. Like,
no, they couldn't have taken a bat to the head. No, it was karate, barehanded karate.
So yeah, they want to have karate lessons, no guns, nothing else. The only way to fight karate is with more karate.
They cancel each other out.
The lady cop, she goes and, again, don't know anyone's names. So she goes to find Chuck Norris because he's the local karate teacher, I guess. And she takes him on a ride along, I guess, where we get to know that he has an adopted black son who the kid's mother was involved in drugs, but all the kid ever wanted to do was karate, and she died because of drugs, so he adopted him after that. Great. Good for you, Chuck Norris.
I honestly, when they cut to him initially, and it was a black dude, I'm like, wow, that's kind of progressive for a movie at the time, I think.
Yeah.
It just surprised, because he's like an adult.
Yeah, because they told, he's like, well, because they said it was 15 years ago, and the kid was 7 when he adopted him, so he's got to be like 22 now. So it's when he tells the story, we don't know that that's his son, and then we see him later and learn that it's his son. So it's like, oh, okay, cool. Because they never say he's black or anything. You just find out later. So yeah, very progressive for the late 70s. But then she goes on this bust in a hotel, and she pretty much just tries to get this 15-year-old prostitute girl killed. Seems like.
Yeah,
she just like goes up weird. In there. This girl's, she's a prostitute trying to get drugs or money to buy drugs, and she's trying to help her out, and she gets the guy who's paying her away, and but then her dealer or whatever or ringleader, her pimp as it were, busts in the room, and she's like, yeah, I'm a cop, and you're lucky I'm not busting you. And I'm like, this girl's gonna get killed in the next scene. Like, I couldn't believe that. They're just like,
bust this dude. They set us up so hard. Whenever like they come in and the front desk guy like gets on the phone, he just looking around all sketchy, like, oh, it's gonna be bad.
I really thought she was gonna get her killed, but didn't happen, or that we know of at least.
We got to include that he did pull out a knife.
That's true.
And he did get his ass whooped.
Yeah. I mean, Chuck Norris was there with his karate, luckily, to save the day. So, throughout the movie, how many times did you think that there was going to be a twist of, oh, well, the karate killer's someone we know? Because that's what I kept thinking.
Like every 2 seconds?
Yeah. So first I was like, oh, it's going to be the son. 100% it's going to be the son.
That would have been pretty good, actually.
And then it wasn't the son. This is 1979, so it's before M. Night Shyamalan and twists were really big in movies, I guess.
Yeah.
But and then I thought it was like this dude Bob, who I don't really know their relationship, but he trained in the same gym or something, or he was Chuck Norris's like kickboxing trainer. So I was like, oh, it's gonna be Bob, and that's the only match for him is his trainer or something like that. But then it just turns out to be Sparky, who before we saw that Sparky, because Charles goes after him. After the drug lords, because all of the drug dealers are teenagers riding skateboards.
Yeah.
If you see a kid riding a skateboard, drug dealer, automatically.
Big time.
Yeah. Good. So he follows one of these kids on the skateboards, finds the Kingpin's house, and then, is that the first time we see Sparks? Whatever his name is?
I think so, man. No, we might have got a glimpse of him when they're doing that earlier.
We must have known him before, because like Charles is like, hey, Sparks, you don't have to do this, my man.
Yeah, token black guy right there. Yeah. But I think they saw him earlier at a party whenever he like raises his foot up to Chuck Norris's face, and they're like, hey, bro.
I thought that was Bob that was doing that.
No, that was Sparky. That was Sparky that like he acted like he was gonna, straight-legged his ass right to the face.
Yeah.
And Chuck Norris is like, listen, bitch, I will whoop your ass in front of everybody in God. And Sparky backed down. And then they kind of
and then they had the final competition, that Chuck Norris was training for. I don't remember Chuck Norris's character. I'm just going to keep calling him Chuck Norris. I think it was Matt, but that's fine. Norris.
Matt is his name.
Training for a big competition, the biggest competition of his life. It was actually a fight against Sparky. I know that much.
Yeah, he was the second, but because Chuck Norris's character is actually like the karate champion of the world.
Obviously. Why wouldn't
I mean, when they announced
that's why the cops recruited him to teach them,
Yeah. Lucky. And then the second best guys in the same town.
Like,
thank
obviously.
God.
Yeah.
But
Sparky kills Charles, Chuck Norris's son, and, it's on now. Chuck Norris can't have that.
Yeah, he straight up tells the cop, I'm going to kill this dude.
So this fight's going on, and this was in the beginning. One of the biggest things I couldn't believe is they're like burning and throwing away millions of dollars worth of cocaine and heroin and marijuana, and like there's 10 cops there, and they're all just like, yeah, this is cool. This is what we do with evidence, which it was the procedure. But I'm like, none of those cops are like skimming some here. Like, I don't believe that for a minute. And it does turn out.
No.
Yeah, it turns out one of the cops is on the Kingpin side, obviously. So the lady cop figures that out, chases him down, goes to his house while he's supposed to be at this big kickboxing competition, gets like sprung on by the drug kingpin, I guess he was. And, she's right there at the end, but then boom, Chuck Norris's receptionist comes in with the karate moves, knocks him out.
Thank God. Gets his gun. What's that?
I was a little upset that the lady cop just left the receptionist there with the drug kingpin. Like, this dude's got other people coming. Like, you can't just leave her there.
This movie, everybody was so nonchalant. Like, the whole
Well, they were also
movie.
good at karate, though. They knew they had their karate skills to back them up. They didn't have to worry about shit.
If I was that good at karate, I'd just walk around like, hey, whatever. I could fight anybody and win. I could defeat any enemy. But, I mean, they're around kilos of drugs. No biggie.
Yeah, no one cares.
I mean, people are getting killed. People are getting straight up whooped. Charlie got killed like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
And, I mean, when Chuck Norris is, like, asking her to go do a tournament, and he jumps out of, like, the shadows at her. He's like, boo, yeah. I barely know you, but you should go to this tournament with me. And she's just like, oh, cool,
Very
yeah,
forced
let's
go. Romantic relationship between Chuck Norris and the lady cop, too.
I kept expecting, like, a 3-minute sex scene at some
yeah,
point.
I don't know why they threw that in there. Like, I don't know that they needed a romantic relationship for, like, either of them to care. But, I mean, whatever.
It's a karate movie, so it's all about karate and the chicks, man.
Love and karate. That's what it's all about. So we get the craziest ending. Like, I did not see it going here. They're at the kickboxing competition. The Sparky versus Chuck Norris. Sparky, the cops come in to break up the kickboxing to arrest Sparky, and he just fucking bolts. Like, first, he tries to kill Chuck Norris, like, in the boxing ring. It doesn't work. It doesn't take the first time, so he just bolts. Chuck Norris runs after him. The lady cop gets in her car, chases. They end in some park on a hill, and Chuck Norris is just beating the shit out of him. Lady cop tells him to calm, chill the fuck out. It's fine. And then, did he say something or do something? Because Chuck Norris snapped after that.
No, okay. So, I got a couple things to say about this scene.
Okay, yeah.
I got a couple things to say.
I wrote it down. I remember now, but go ahead.
When there's slow motion scenes, I mean, there was like a minute of straight slow motion. It's like,
so that was something they did in older movies when the choreography wasn't very good. You put it in slow motion, so
it looks a lot better.
Yeah, nobody has to be as active as they look. Yeah,
good idea. But
happens
Matt
a lot with
realizes...
Willie Mays Hayes in Major League, as we talked about Wesley Snipes on our last episode. Gotta watch Wesley. Major League.
And I mean, this Chuck Norris's character is committing hella fucking crimes, dude. He steals a cop car to go after Sparky.
But he's working with the cops, though. I mean, so...
I don't care. The cops aren't going to be like, yeah, bro, take my car. Here's the keys, dude. And then when he... So he ends up fighting Sparky, and... He said some shit about Charlie, I want to say.
No,
and then he straight up kills this dude in front of a cop.
Yeah, so he gets him on the ground. He's beating the shit out of him. The lady cop tells him, chill out. Sparky grabs the big box of cocaine or heroin, whatever it is, and tries to smash it over Chuck Norris's head. But Chuck Norris senses this with his awesome karate skills, obviously, and turns and just breaks the whole fucking box with his bare hand, and then just DDTs the shit out of Sparky for the neck snap kill.
That is a super good way to say it. And I mean, he just straight up kills him in front of a cop. No biggie.
Cop's just like, it's cool. Don't worry about it. He tried to hit you in the head with a bag of heroin, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Murder's totally cool in this situation.
That was the most amazing DDT I've ever seen. 10 out of 10 choreography.
But yeah, that's the movie. Really great. Again, if you've got some mood altering substances going on, if it's just off to the side, you got some buddies over, great film to watch. If you're a woman, I'm gonna have to say you're probably not gonna like it.
No, you probably hate it. Super sexist.
Yeah, you might like it, but from all the women, none of the women I've ever met would like it.
Yeah, I told my wife I was gonna watch it, and I don't think she really it basically
she didn't care
was
to
just
watch
like she didn't even acknowledge that it existed. It's like, okay, yeah, well, that's gonna be good. Enjoy. But like I said, final thought, I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
I love those old kung fu karate movies. I mean, Chuck Norris, dude.
Yeah.
He's a legend.
It was more enjoyable than I thought it would be. I don't think I'm gonna go out of my way to watch any more Chuck Norris movies, but like it was fine.
No, yeah, definitely
It was
not.
better than I liked it. I enjoyed it more than Barney's version, which is
I enjoyed it 100 times
not
more
a high
than
bar,
Barney's
but
version.
it at least it did something that made it enjoyable. Like Barney's version was just nothing for 2 hours. This was like at least
forever.
exciting, and there was funny karate, and it was. I don't know.
It moved really quickly.
Yeah,
honestly,
that was good too.
It was just one of those movies that it's goofy. It knows it. It doesn't really care, and it doesn't anyway. They commit hard as hell, and it
like
works
karate
in their
is
favor.
super duper important. And
yeah,
everybody
gotta have
knows
karate.
it.
I mean, when you're 9, karate's pretty important, but I think that's what this movie is for. Is probably younger people, and I mean, I still enjoy it. So
younger people, or someone like my dad, who like. When I was a kid, he was always in karate classes, and he's got black belts and all that shit. Like, I think he would enjoy this karate film.
Hey, man, I mean, to each his own. My best friend that I told you about, who, Walker Texas Ranger and all that garbage, he was a Taekwondo guy, and he
that's
had
what my dad
all
did.
the black belts and all that good stuff. He must have seen this movie, and he knew he needed to learn some shit.
Obviously, yeah. So you got a rating? 1 through 10?
I'm going to give it a 7.3.
Whoa. Wow.
Yes.
That's impressive. I gave it a 5.8, so it could at least round up to 6, but not quite a 6. Because it's not a good movie. Like, it's not a good movie. Or, like, it's not a film. A fantastic film. But, like, it was fine.
Not good cinema.
No, it's not.
But it is enjoyable. I might watch it again some other time.
Wow.
In a hotel room if it's on TV, and I've had my 3 or 4 beers.
If I was flipping channels and I had somebody sitting next to me and I came across it, I would stop on it and be like, yo, you gotta watch this movie.
You know, I will say this. I do enjoy going to Chinatown and Chicago and staying up there with, me and my wife go up there. If I'm there, I might have to watch it again.
There you go.
Just I'm there. There's like all kinds of karate themed shit around. I gotta watch it.
Yeah, it'll get you in the karate mood. I get it. All right, so let's pick our movie for next month. We are going to, as we do it, we have a list of basically every movie between 1975 and 2015 that was released within the month. That has a higher than a 4.0 rating on IMDb and is less than 150 minutes long, I want to say. So we've had 3 pretty bad movies. So we're gonna take a couple tries now and get hopefully a good movie, or at least one that we're like excited to watch.
Definitely.
So let's go to our random number generator first. 250. Let's see what that comes up with. 250. Skipped parts. Comedy drama from 2000. Ever heard of it? 6.4 on IMDb.
I've never heard who's in it.
I don't have that in front. That would take too long to look up. So let's skip that one for right now. Skipped parts, you're getting skipped. 62 is our next number. Let's see what we got here. Super 8. J.J. Abrams.
Yes. Love that movie.
Yeah, that'll be a good rewatch. I haven't rewatched that one in a while. All right. It only took us 2 tries to get it, too.
Nice.
I'm going to look up skip parts just in case.
That might be a random review.
Yeah, double random review if we're in the mood. Not skipped. Skipped parts. Drew Barrymore, Jennifer Jason Leigh. Underground young mother and her thoughtful teenage son are banished to a remote provincial town by a domineering father. Nope. Drew Barrymore, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Misha Barton, Bug Hall, Penny Lipton. Yeah, no. Super 8. All right, J.J. Abrams, Super 8 next week. Thank you for listening. Thank you if you're listening to this. Obviously, you're a patron, so thank you for being a patron. Tell your friends to also be patrons and give us more money.
We appreciate it. It's awesome, and it helps contribute to the production costs of the show.
Yes.
And, as everybody knows, there's always something associated with producing something this awesome for you people.
And, there's only so many bad movies we can watch, so, the fact that you're paying us to watch these bad movies makes it feel a little bit better.
Definitely.
Thanks for stopping by.
Bible says man without